Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi everybody. Welcome to today's session. Alhamdulillah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Bismillah salatu salam ala Rasulillah. Let me share my screen here. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. All right. Bismillah. Salatu salam ala Rasulillah. Thank you so much. I think that you should be able to share my screen. Bismillah. Double checking if the screen share is good. Okay. There we go. All right. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. We've been talking about how to cultivate a mindful Ramadan. And last week we talked about how to cultivate Taqwa in an experiential manner, where we can get to experience Taqwa, experience God through contemplating, meditating, reflecting on, and being present with our heart, with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We talked about a really important method, Imam Ghazali's method of hudur. Both of those sessions were recorded. So inshallah, I ask everybody to make sure you check those out. And we also did a guided mindfulness practice on how to practice hudur and presence of Allah, according to Imam Ghazali's steps, and as well as focusing on how do we return to Allah with the istighfar practice. This week, we're building on mindfulness, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, to how do we also build purpose this Ramadan. And one important, really important ways to cultivate a mindful self is these moments of intentions that we have. How do we find our divine purpose, and how do we tie everything we do, with the right intention, with that purpose? Even with the night prayer, the Prophet ﷺ mentions these words, imanan wa ihtisaban, out of faith and anticipation of reward in the hereafter. How do you emerge with your authentic purpose and vision of yourself, of your best self, where you are always having a sense of faith and sense of intentionality in whatever you do? So when we pray, we just don't pray because we're counting the numbers or the quantity of the rakahs, but we have a sense of faith and sense of purpose, sense of intention. And we shared a really important framework, an Islamic framework about how to think about building our purpose. Whenever we are away from our purpose, we're under the influence of our ego, our lower self, we're under the influence of shaitan or the ego. We're outside the boundaries of the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when we have lost our purpose. And when we are within our purpose, we are under the influence of our higher self. We're under the influence of Allah, the Prophet ﷺ and his teachings in the Quran. And we are not distracted by worldly distractions and temptations. But the first step when we are having those distractions and temptations is to build that sense of awareness. First step is noticing that we're lost. We've lost our purpose. We're not on the right path. If you know that you missed the exit, then you will think about how to get back, how to make the U-turn. Noticing that is the first step. If you think that you're going the right way, you might spend 5 minutes or 10 minutes or more thinking that you're heading the right way if you're actually going the wrong place. So noticing that we're distracted, noticing that this is not aligned to my best self, this is not aligned to the purpose that takes me closer to Allah, and it's shown by the Prophet and is inspired by the Quran. So noticing and being aware is the first step. Reorienting our attention then towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is where mindfulness, awareness, consciousness, taqwa comes in, that we come back to come back to Allah's presence, come back to mindfulness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when we come to Allah, we think about, what did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala create me for? Why did he send me here? What is my purpose that he wants? And first figuring out that divine purpose, and then connecting our unique, work or service or purpose that we have in this world to these divine purpose. So for example, Allah says, "Inni ja'ilun fil ardi khalifa." I have sent you as my, Allah created human beings as his khalifa, as his representative. We are here to represent. We're the ambassadors of God. And we are kuntum khayra ummah ukhrijat linnas. We are the best of nation, the last of all nations. After the Prophet ﷺ, no other prophet is going to come. So we're going to be his deputy. We're basically deputized, بَلِّغُوا أَشَاهِدُ الْغَيْبِ, to continue to convey the message. So we are messenger of the messenger. We are the na'ib of the Prophet. And we have the living miracle with us. We have inherited the best of inheritance. We're the warith of the Quran. So if we are connected, no matter what we do, what type of life we're leading, it has to connect with these, really important pillars of divine purpose. And if we can live with this purpose, then inshallah, this will lead us to the eternal pleasure and the proximity of God and his messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So learning to refocus our purpose, learning to do whatever we do in this world to this purpose, learning to have intentions to get back to this purpose is a really important way to cultivate the mindfulness of God. So one of the things that we talk about is that, are we really, we lost our purpose if we're focusing. If you look at the bottom right on that drop, this world is like a drop. If we're focusing on that drop only, we're concerned about this world and the worldly needs and material needs, and we're not concerned, we're not putting effort, we're not working towards the top right, the infinite life that is going to come, the akhirah, then we've lost our purpose. Also, the bottom left, if we are somehow, we're getting into this, the love of the world, of course, we want to rectify our hearts from shirk, kufr, and nifaq. But, even after that, when we are Muslims and mu'mins, having that sense of love of this world, or, uh, the purification of the heart from riya, showing off, or kibr, or arrogance, or jealousy, or ill feelings about anyone, purifying that, this is our purpose, to also make sure that we're cultivating our best self. To, if you look at the top left, to build a qalbun salim, build a heart that is pure. Illa man atallah bi qalbin salim. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is asking us to bring a pure heart, a rectified heart. How are we working on our heart? Are we working on our soul? Are we continuously working towards a bigger purpose? Is everything I'm doing in this life connected to that purpose? This is a really important question to become more purposeful and intentional this Ramadan, and not just do it during Ramadan, but become that person after Ramadan. So one really important tool that we shared last session, that we're reviewing right now, is that intentions are micro moments of meditation. We're meditating on, what is my intention for this act? And for every act can be turned into worship if we're doing for the pleasure of Allah and the way of our beloved Prophet ﷺ. And this is where we can use mindfulness practice, because sometimes when we don't take time to transition, we're running from one meeting to another. We're running home from work, and then we're running to work from home, and we're running between work and conversations, or spending time with our spouse and our kids, and we're just preparing food, and then we're doing something else, and then running to prayer. So if we're just transitioning without intentions, we are forgetting to be present in every activity and turn that activity with the right intention in worship. So we're more present in that activity. We have the right intention for the activity. How do you do that? And there's something very simple that we have shared, is that just in 3 steps, gather your attention on the breath. Breath is a really important neurophysiological tool, according to neuroscience, to train your attention, learn to release your stress, regulate your blood pressure, regulate and become more calm, regulate the state of your mind. So taking that deep breath and a long breath out, and gathering your attention on that breath, and taking another breath and just letting go, like, okay, I was stressed in that meeting, I was stressed at work, letting go of the tension and the stress from my neck, my shoulders, my back, just relax my body, and taking a third breath and asking, okay, I'm transitioning to this thing now. What is my intention? Inshallah, I'm going to have a mindful conversation with my spouse, mindful conversation with my kids. I'm going to really be present and not distracted with my phone at the time of iftar, or during my salah, or in the masjid, or I'm going to have a mindful salah. Just this few simple steps to really make that, correct your intention, rectify your intention, can really make you a more present person in whatever you do, and increase your spiritual and emotional well-being. Today we're going to do a guided practice, inshallah, on purpose, on the divine purpose we talked about. How do we get back to the real purpose that Allah has sent us in this world for? So we will be focusing on the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this guided Islamic mindfulness practice to focus back on my purpose, your purpose. How do we get back to our purpose? And the name that we're going to be focusing on today, the contemplation meditation cycle, is going to work something like this. We're going to be, focusing on the name of Allah, As-Salam. As-Salam. And then we're going to first know who As-Salam is, get to know. We cannot worship God if we don't know God. Why is it important to know Allah? Is because we cannot worship Him, we cannot understand Him, we cannot reach out to Him without knowing Him. So knowing Him through these beautiful names, and then contemplate and supplicate. We contemplate on that name, we supplicate and reach out to Allah through that name. And then the Prophet ﷺ has taught us in Hadith al-Qudsi that we expect whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala deals with us according to our expectation. We expect, as we reach out to Allah with His beautiful name, we also expect the effect, and the blessings of this name. Allah, when we reach out to Allah, Ya Salam, we're asking Allah to grant us safety and security and peace and tranquility. So we are reaching out to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Also for this contemplation cycle, we're focusing on something really important about our purpose, and I'll tell you what, inshallah, as you follow along in the practice. Now, in terms of visualization is the experience. An ta'budallaha ka'annaka tara. Ihsan is as if you can worship God, as if you can see Him, as if you can visualize His presence. And this visualization is about how do you visualize the impact and the effect of this name, that of the acceptance of your dua, of your supplication, of your reaching out to Allah. How does that impact you, your heart, your body, your state of mind? Visualization is an important aspect. And then we will think about embodying this name. How do we embody this name? What do we do to embody this beautiful quality? That Sibghatullah, color yourself with the color of Allah, and how do we embody the name and the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is the contemplation cycle that we're going to go through. Inshallah, I want you to follow through for the rest of the practice. And next week, we're going to talk about gratitude. This week, inshallah, we're ending this second session on purpose with this guided mindfulness practice. Bismillah, salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. For this practice, I want you to just sit up straight. If you're sitting up on a chair, you can do it in a tahiyat position, facing the qibla. And that's normally how the meditation and muraqabah practices are done. But for this practice, since you're doing a guided practice, you can just follow along with me. And we're going to try to first ground ourselves, both physically and mentally, and gather our attention. And then we're going to focus on this name of As-Salam to find our purpose. This is what we're going to be doing. Okay? Bismillah. So follow along. Lower your gaze or close your eyes, whatever helps you gather your attention. Be open and curious to receive from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, meaning whenever you reach to Allah through this meditation, contemplation practice, this dua practice, make sure that you are completely open to this concept of trying to experience and get in a state of mindfulness, hudur, and presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you're open, if you're curious, and if you ask Allah to grant you this blessing, then your effort, inshallah, will be rewarded. And not to judge yourself. That I'm not sure if I can do this. My mind has so many thoughts, or I can never focus. Do not judge yourself. Just bringing a sense of, curiosity and openness and kindness to yourself. If your mind wanders, do not get into any negative self-talk or any type of judgment. It's okay. You don't have to get it right. You don't have to get it completely, perfect. Just bring your attention and your mind back to what we are doing. Feeling yourself and grounding yourself in this space. Lengthening your upper spine and bringing a little sense of alertness in your body. And then softening your shoulders and bringing a sense of relaxation. So this optimal balance between being alert yet relaxed. Supporting your lower back on the chair that you're sitting on. Feeling your thighs with your hands, the floor with your feet. Lowering your gaze, softening your gaze, or perhaps closing your eyes if that helps you gather your attention. Looking inward. Instead of looking outward, we're looking inward in our heart, and trying to bring a sense of intention and awareness in our heart, and remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in our heart. Imam al-Muhasibi and other scholars mention that sometimes when we are quiet, our inner self, our inner voice can speak, and we have so many thoughts and we have so many things that our nafs or ego can also sometimes distract us with. So asking our nafs and our inner self to be quiet for a moment, for be silent for a moment as we practice presence of God. Quieting our inner voice. Let's take a deep breath together and gather your attention. And a long breath out. See if you can gather your attention on the breath. To train your attention first before we focus on Allah. Where is the breath most alive in your body? Could be around your nostrils, perhaps around your chest, perhaps around your abs. Where is the breath most alive? Where do you feel it most? Or perhaps a sense of the whole body breathing. Gather your attention there. And without having to lengthen or shorten the breath, just stay with a few cycles of breath. Just for a few moments, stay with your breath. And if your mind wanders, kindly and gently bringing your attention back. Gather your attention. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلِلَّهِ الْأَسْمَاءُ الْحُسْنَى فَادْعُوهُ بِهَا. To Allah belongs beautiful names. So ask Him, reach out to Him, worship Him through these beautiful names. Making that intention that we're reaching out to Allah with this beautiful name, contemplating, meditating on this name, As-Salam. Our teachers and scholars mention that nothing increases our iman as much as the names and attributes of God. Half of Tawheed is knowing God, and the other half is worshipping Him. As-Salam. What does this name mean? What does As-Salam mean? Salam does not only mean peace, but salam is the absence of all harm and all evil. Salam is a source of all safety, peace, and security, the absence of all harm. And we can reach out to Allah through this beautiful name, As-Salam. What a beautiful name and attribute Allah has. Source of all peace, safety, security, goodness, and a absence, protection from all harm, all evil. Reaching out to Allah, contemplating on this name, on this attribute of Allah for a few moments, and reaching out to Him, Ya Salam, Ya Salam, for a few moments. If your mind wanders, just bring it back to your breath or the name Ya Salam, whichever works for you. Can you make the dhikr of Allah through this beautiful name, Ya Salam, through your heart without having to activate your tongue? So without using the tongue, can you reach out, Ya Salam, to Allah, to As-Salam through your heart? A few moments of Ya Salam, but from your heart. visualizing the peace and the blessings from Allah. Salam is the source of all safety, all assurance, all security. All our worries, all our anxieties can be replaced by peace and safety and tranquility from As-Salam. As you reach out to Allah through this name, Ya Salam, bring to your heart this visualization of peace and tranquility descending upon your heart. Every time you say Ya Salam, Allah's peace and blessings descending upon your heart and radiating through all parts of your body. As you breathe in, think about this peace, As-Salam. As you breathe out, let it go. Let go of the anxieties and worries and difficulties. Bringing a little more sense of ease in your mind and your body. The Prophet ﷺ said that Allah will deal with us according to our expectation. If we expect from As-Salam through these beautiful names all His peace and safety and tranquility and removal of all our difficulties, worries and anxiety, Allah will accept. Allah will accept our dua. And with our du'as and with our contemplation and du'as and supplication, Allah will grant us this peace. Allah is the owner of Dar is Salam. He can guarantee the ultimate salam, the ultimate peace in Jannah, where Allah says He Himself will greet us with salam. Allah will tahiyyatuhum yawma yalqawna salam. Yawma yalqawnahu salam wa a'adda lahum ajran karima. Allah, please make us among those people. When we meet you, you will greet us with As-Salam, peace. And He has prepared a generous reward from us. How does it feel to visualize that moment when we enter the abode of peace, Jannah, and we are greeted with As-Salam by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Staying in this moment of contemplation for a few moments and reflect on that moment. Finally, reflecting on our purpose, our real goal, our real intention. The question we ask, why we came, where did we come from, where are we going? Let's end by reflecting on this question. We all came from Allah, As-Salam, the source of all peace, to be on, as Allah says in the Quran, Sabil as-Salam, the path of Salam, the path of Islam, to submit and to spread peace and benefit on this earth through Islam, so that we can return to Dar is-Salam. Allahu yadu ila Dar is-Salam. Allah Himself is inviting us to that abode of salam and peace. Just reaching out to Allah. How does it feel right now to reflect on this name and that real purpose of returning to Dar es-Salam? What type of emotions do you feel? What type of thoughts do you have? And let's reflect on that for a few moments and have a conversation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as you contemplate on this. Ya salam. Ya salam. Ya salam. Grant us tawfiq to be on Islam, on this world. Grant us tawfiq to be on our divine purpose as your Khalifa, as the Naib of the Prophet, as the Waris of the Quran. Grant us tawfiq to have the correct purpose and intention in everything we do that takes us closer to your pleasure and closer to our best self. Give us tawfiq to become people of taqwa, people of consciousness and mindfulness of you, Ya Allah, and that are on true purpose and intention. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. Returning to your breath for a few moments, just for a few moments, gather your attention on the breath and checking in. How do you feel as you check in with your body and your mind and your heart? Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. Jazakallah khair, inshallah, returning to the room, returning to this space. Thank you so much for being here today and going through this practice. I hope this was beneficial for you. I think this will be recorded and be sent a copy. And we're continuing our journey for a mindful Ramadan to not just do more, but also become a better version of ourselves, become more of ourselves, more mindful, more purposeful. Next week, we're going to work on gratitude. And the week after, we're going to be talking about patience. So we would love for you to join us, inshallah, in the upcoming sessions. Continue to listen to the recordings and continue this practice of deep presence and connecting with Allah to have an experiential taqwa and mindfulness cultivation in this month of Ramadan. May Allah bless you. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.